Hello, everybody, and welcome to this rather interesting episode of Rantz. As you can see, it's Crisandro, of course, and I'm not sure if you recognise my partner in crime since I'm a friend with him. Introduce yourself, my good man.
Yes, sorry, hello, Humphrey. The Humphrey cat. And yeah, I'm Shubon, and yeah, so I forget what day this is of the coronavirus lockdown. I actually
Yeah.
it sometimes. The only way I've been able to keep track of it is to organise like my activities, what I would normally do. So as best I can. So some days are slightly different. Otherwise, they'll just blend into one. But yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, in terms of obviously, there's a lot's happened in terms of not on the field, but off the field. Matt Hancock has been his usual helpful self. And, but I think he does have some, in his own misguided way, some point about it. Because I've actually shared a couple of posts on the supplement. Because clubs don't like to think of themselves as businesses. They like to sell this idea of a sense of community. You know? That's the whole thing. It's that when you buy into a club, you're not just buying, when you're a fan, you're not just buying into their sporting success. You're buying into their location, you're buying into identity, you're buying into their sense of community. And in all aspects of that, you know, that's what clubs were generally founded on. Manchester City was founded by a vicar's daughter because there was a lot of drunkenness, a lot of loads of like heavy drinking and stuff like that. So she saw that with factory workers and she decided, you know what, I need to help them, give them something to do. You know, West Ham was an ironworks.
Yeah.
So was Millwall. Tottenham, as we know, was founded by a set of grammar school boys that needed something to do in the winter. That's what they were about. The Arsenal being from Woolwich, you know, where the gun barracks are. It was always about a sense of community, a sense of belonging and being part of something. So football, I think, is judged harsher more than most, you know, just because of what they sell, and you can't be two things at the same time. You can't be a business and a community organisation at the same time. Although it does if you can if you're in America, because certain community organisations over there don't pay tax but will get government relief.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy how we view things, and ultimately, I think what it boils down to right now, there's a real lack of trust with all parties. I think the coronavirus is echoing what is happening in the sporting world. There's a lack of trust, there's a lack of understanding, the lack of transparency. People guessing, people looking at how to use this situation for their advantage or to minimize the impact on this to their disadvantage. You know, football clubs don't trust the clubs with the money. You know, what they can do with the money. Is it going to go to the staff? Is it going to go back to extremely wealthy owners? You know, is it going to go to clubs lower down the division? They didn't know what it was going to do. Well, it wasn't done with it. At the same time, football clubs don't trust footballers or their agents not to exploit the situation. I think we will see a driving down of wages, salaries, and stuff like that, because ultimately there's been a huge hit. And ultimately, so this will not probably translate well with our any of our overseas viewers, but everyone's looking for a fair and equitable solution for all parties. Better chance of finding Lord Lucan on the Titanic docked outside El Dorado than that.
I think I might get that one though. I might get the reference.
Titanic, who doesn't know what Titanic is? But you know, it's Lord Lucan may be a bit of a stretch.
Well, he's famous enough.
Well,
But
well, yeah, but I mean, that's what I feel. I just feel that you've not going to have that opportunity because we are, well, the heart of the Premier League's competition. It's competitive. It's
yeah,
bragging right. It's competitive. That's the reason why the Premier League is much more successful than it is, say, in France or in Germany and Italy, where you will have, France, obviously it's PSG now. It was Olympique Lyon, it was Marseille, but you don't have any one club that dominates football until recently. Bayern Munich generally always dominated, or to a lesser degree or not, have dominated German football. Borussia
pretty
Dortmund
much.
came along in the late 90s, obviously.
Mm,
Obviously, you play teams like Hamburg and Borussia Mönchengladbach and those kind of teams, but it's
mm,
always been that team. So, and they are very much community assets. They're 49 rule, but ultimately they're community assets. So you don't have a sense of competition. Whereas here, I mean, the first thing I thought of when we were put onto lockdown was that's it. Harry Kane has a chance to get fit. Sign has a chance to get
I
fit.
think most people did, yeah.
Yeah, because it's natural to look to your own advantage. It's just human instinct. It's the basic form of human instinct.
Mm,
But and I take no joy. I take no joy in admitting it. But there is that natural human instinct. Some player's been sent off. Yes, it may. Oh, some yes, it's what? How does this benefit me? How does this benefit my own interests? And
mm.
we are. I think. I think it's just more reflective of the times we live in. We are in a more individualistic society.
Easy for you
Where
to say, yeah.
so I don't know. I just don't feel that right now there's a real lack. But that problem with that is you do have that inherent lack of trust, especially when there is such little transparency. So
Mm,
it's easy to say, for example, oh, Daniel Levy, he's furloughing. How terrible that is. Well, British Airways is furloughing. They are twice the size, well, many times bigger.
yeah.
Uh, you've got Arcadia Group, who, as far as I'm aware, paid themselves a £1.2 billion dividend. I think
Yeah.
it was about a couple of years ago, which they
Mm,
paid no tax because its owner happened to live in Monaco, and
mm,
yet now they are out now asking for a government handout to help
mm.
them to pay their staff. So and obviously that will be picked up on mainly because Sir Philip Green he's pretty much a very easy target. Yes, because which is interesting because considering how short he is, it's quite an easy target to hit. But there's no that will there be the same outrage? Maybe.
Of course not. No.
I'm hoping so.
I think in terms of football and footballers, I guess there is a kind of like a class thing involved, if you know what I mean. Because generally footballers who are now millionaires, most of them came from working class backgrounds or from poorer backgrounds. So and people like Philip Green, as you mentioned, they've always had the cash. So I'm guessing they think,
It does come from a working class background himself.
well, you know what I mean. But maybe it was a bad example. But most most billionaires now have always had the money. So I guess the thought is, if a working class guy um, has all those millions, maybe he should give some back to his community. That's the thought, and so that's why footballers will always get a hard time because they think that they come from nothing, so they should expect to like
I
spread
think
the
just
wealth about.
I don't know. Ultimately, here's this, right? Footballers, for the work they do, are in the public eye a lot more than, say, a hedge fund manager
Mm,
or some corporate CEO, just
mm,
because the public eye. They're someone you see every single week
mm,
or twice a week. You talk about your football team and its players much more often than you would talk about, I don't know, the CEO of Marks Spencer or
Jacob Rees-Mogg.
I don't know, GlaxoSmithKline or HSBC. It's
Mm,
just the level of scrutiny by the public as a large is over what footballers do is much greater. It just has more of our attention because it just occupies more of our bandwidth. So I think
mm,
that's just which in essence helps them because that allows them to do. I don't. While the C, I think I don't know. Maybe I don't know. He probably gets paid as well, not the same amount as say a Premiership footballer, like say Harry Kane, but
mm,
he does get paid. The top CEO of say HSBC or BP probably does get paid a huge amount, bonuses and everything like that. But chances are he hasn't got an Instagram account which has like 20,000 gazillion followers, which allows him to market himself in a way that no other person can market himself. So I think there's good and bad with it all, but I think fundamentally you've got a lack, which I'm stealing this from Rory Smith, by the way. It's a lack of trust. A lack of trust. There's a lack of, like transparency. And unfortunately, with what's happening now, especially right now with Corona, as it being as it is, football was always, how do I put it? It was always, it's like that house of cards built on, I don't know, on the Titanic. It's always going to hit an iceberg. An iceberg was always coming its way. You just didn't see it. That's the way it works. Just plodding along, and the band still plays on, kind of thing. Football needed this because ultimately, what prices? I think, what is it? The price of a football match now, I think it's, might say, 4 or 5 times higher than it was in the late 90s.
Yeah, sounds about right.
At least 3 times greater than what it was. Now, like, my insurance goes up like bonkers amounts every single year, my car insurance. And I don't want to complain about it, but it's something I need to have. Football tickets, season tickets are luxury. But ultimately, what you've got is a situation where, you've got these footballers who, they make a lot of money. They're in the public eye. There are a lot of footballers who are in the public eye. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, I don't know. So I'm trying to think of a really good footballer that's never. It's going to be difficult because most of them they all, in terms of crowd caught in public.
Really good footballers not in the public eye.
Like you'll see about they'll say it's like Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes was always a very good footballer, but you never saw him do professional interviews. He probably doesn't have an Instagram account or a Twitter. He very much keeps a very, very low profile. But he's more the exception rather than the rule. Most football realise that they realise they need to, they'll only earn this much for a certain period. So ultimately, when they look at it, they might think, wait a minute, I'm only a footballer now for, say, 14 years. If I take a massive pay cut now, whether it be at the end of my career, at the middle of my career, or whatever, that will affect me for the rest of my life. So naturally, they're going to fight this because this is their period when they're going to make their money. This is the period they're going to harvest. So maybe not maybe, obviously they'll say, well, wait a minute, you'll have more money than you'll ever need. Probably, yeah, but chances are they probably spend it. I mean, I was reading this book by I think John Cryer, and he talked about his co-star at the time, former co-star, literally was absolutely brassic at one point because he was spending money faster than it came in at times. Just how it was. So there are some footballers, like real Robbie Fowler's, like I think Michael Richards actually has a property consultancy. I think Jermaine Jennett has an education company that he owns, and they very much realise they have to have outside investments to sustain the lifestyle that they have, or something to fund that. They can go tipped up. I mean, I think, was it Brad Friedel? He did something similar, and he made bankrupt because he built a soccer school and it ended up costing him a lot of money. He's obviously covered his money. He's obviously got money coming in, but a lot of his money went into that. You're a bad. What was that player? The Arsenal player, I think his name was. He had a bad divorce or something, and now he doesn't have any. I think he's a French African player. I forgot his name now. I want to say Yayot, not Yayot, Emmanuel Bowie or something. He's always injured, I think.
Oh boy. Okay. Yes.
And now he's so I'm saying you want to, while it's kind of like having the title if you're a boxer. The job of any boxer, a championship boxer, is to win the title. That makes you the best of what you are. Make as much money for the title without risking the title. And that's what you are. As you're a Premiership footballer, this is your title. This is your period to make as much money as you possibly can without doing anything to risk yourself. Obviously, maybe not physical risk, but without risking that income, because that's the money you'll need for the rest of your life. And yes, you may make other money. You may go into management. You may do TV punditry, stuff like that. But you will never make the sheer amount of money that you are now in 10 years or 20 years' time. And football's, I mean, I was reading the book by Norman Geller. And you have, like, I think one of footballers, Charlie Dimmock or something. And, he was no, that's the name of a gardener, but on the ground force, yeah. And that's really going to confuse our overseas listeners. But there was a footballer, I think,
Just fun to watch though.
and he had like a house in Edmonton or something. As soon as he stopped being a footballer, that was it. That wasn't being paid. He was going to be forced out. He ended up having to have amputees. He had suffered a lot of ill health, kind of thing.
Okay.
And ultimately, he didn't have that huge amount of money back then anyway, and that's the reason why he has, even like footballers from say the 80s, why do they do a lot more? Why do you see footballers from the 80s and say the early 90s doing a lot more public appearances?
Legends nights and stuff.
You would say footballers, I would say post, I think the first huge contract was 96, 97, I think. That was the first.
Well, it's kind of like around when the Premiership started, really, wasn't it? That's when the money started rolling in for the players.
92 was the big contract. That's nice when the money came in, but 96, 97, that's when you started seeing like the top foreign players, like, some of the players. I mean, someone like Desso, he came in 2000, and that to say that, that's just the final payday. But I'd say 2000, 2004, when you started seeing like, the top, so although obviously Real Madrid and Barcelona will always be the top playing teams, and obviously PSG that came on later, you saw a lot of Premier League clubs exerting their financial muscle, kind of thing. Definitely in the late 2000s, kind of thing. But there are players. So, for example, I'm trying to think. Say David Howes, who was a Premier League player in the mid 90s, he's still working for a living. He probably had a very good living, very good livelihood. But chances are, and I think he played until 1998 for Southampton. So he was in the Premiership. He was in the Premier League for 6 years. But there's no way he would earn the play money now that, say, for example, say a Michael Dawson, for example. I can imagine Michael Dawson in maybe 10 years probably doing the circuit. Not saying he didn't make money. I'm sure he did. And maybe he made, but he probably didn't. And maybe Jenas as well. Maybe not so much. But it's like that. Players who probably weren't England regulars and stuff like that, weren't at the top of the tree, weren't doing that. It's a good living for them. It makes them a bit of money. They're popular, and I'm sure that no harm shame to them, but that's how they have to make a living. And so this lack of football and this lack of has impacted everyone. I mean, obviously, I was going to go to that event. Is it the 81 reunion? The people like Nicky Hazard, obviously Lorraine. She does football events as well. Can I mention her competition? No, I better not. but yeah, I'm saying so that and football impacts our lives. Football is such a. I mean, like I know I go nuts when there's no football on. And I saw the Ladies World Cup last year. Was it the World Cup or the European?
That was football. Sure, World Cup. Yeah.
So it does impact our lives, but no. So I mean, so yeah, I think it'll be interesting. It's interesting times. I mean, for me, from my mind, I don't think we'll have a fair enough situation purely because the clubs, not just the clubs, but the leagues are so interconnected. So if Italy can't finish this league and Spain can't finish its league, I mean, Italy and Spain they may be on the turn, but they're still ravaged. I mean,
they're decimated, yeah.
We're talking lockdown for at least another month. I think what we're having plus more. So Spain, Italy, if we can't continue, and I don't know how we've been affected compared to say the other countries like say Spain, Italy, or Germany, then
we're on the same trajectory really, but we haven't peaked yet. There's a lot more worse to come.
So I mean, for me, I think the solution will be, I think this is just some random thoughts I had, but I thought maybe you can't crown a league title if you can't decide relegation. It's just not fair. So I think if you can't decide who's going to be relegated, you can't decide who's champion.
No corona, anyone? Before anyone starts saying anything, it's just a normal sneeze.
Your corona, your corona. But
sneezy one. Anyway, carry on.
But I think what they can do, I think the fair thing would be for say, as fair a solution as possible would be, let's say we decide lockdown will finish in June, it's warmer in June. That's the height of summer. So do you know what? How about this? How about in June? What I think the best thing would be is that we expand the league. I think that will make the broadcasters happier. Maybe protecting the Saturday game, but I think we will see a lot of, say, midday, like Saturday evening, Saturday night games kind of thing, and on the Sunday midday games, 1:30 games, 3 o'clock game, and a 6 o'clock game kind of thing, and that will satisfy the broadcasters. If they can show a lot more games, that will satisfy them, and especially if we expand the league to make it, say, it's 20, it's 20 right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, look, we'll make it, say, 23, 23. But then instead of 3 clubs go down, 5 clubs will go down.
But who are the three that will come up? Because I know that Leeds and is it West Brom who are miles ahead, but the team who are third, they're still just a couple of points ahead of the team who are fourth, so it's not that clear cut.
Ultimately, there's no fair solution. I think what you can do is say, look, you can play a round robin. So teams 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this the next 8 teams after, say, Leeds and West Brom, that will play in like an elimination kind of thing. And for this, but just I think these are extraordinary times, and it is unfair. Unfortunately, it is unfair, but we have to deal with it. There are a lot of unfair things that are happening. People are dying right now alone, and there are people who are dying. They can't even have funerals because it's so contagious. So tell me what's unfair, When you stack it up to that, tell me which is fairer. So I think I think 3 to 9, and then the ninth, the team at the bottom of that list, they had the home leg against the team at the top of that tree. It may be unfair. It may obviously, because especially the championship, and especially championship, especially just because the sheer size of it, you can be 9th 1 minute, 3rd the next week. That's just the way it is, But unfortunately, do you know what? If that was just an aberration, then yes, playing at home first may be a disadvantage, but maybe that team in 3rd is in a 4th position. It's hard to know. And I think ultimately it will get more eyes on that because loads of people will just be watching it because they're starved of football. They will watch anything just because they want to watch football, kind of thing. I'm sure they could even charge higher gates purely because.
No doubt they would.
And they think, look, we're watching to watch. There's no Premier League, so we can charge a bit more. Guess what? We'll charge a bit more. And League One will charge a bit more. League Two will charge a bit more. And I think another way of doing it is to actually say, do you know what? We'll all do it, and say that you have promotions and relegations. And so you can't have it on every single channel, but let's say whatever there's the peak time kind of thing. Let's put 1 o'clock. So it'll be like, say, then the morning team will be Division 1, the next game will be Division 2, League 3, and just kind of cascading down. And so at least they'll be on TV. The broadcasters can't complain. They have something to show. And if you're a club in, say, Division 3, you're going to get exposure like no one's got exposure before. People will watch you. People will be watching to bet on you because there's nothing else to bet on, kind of thing.
True.
So I think that's a solution I think I'll go with because I think you can play. So if it's 8 teams going down to the final one, but 2, 4, that's 5 games. And I think you can do 5 games in a month, kind of thing, over a period of, say, 3 weeks. I think that gives you enough time to do that kind of thing. And maybe you can expand it to 16, and maybe, for example, the Champions League, they expand that as well because a lot of broadcasters have lost out on a lot of money because they can't show, a lot of, how do I put it? Say a lot of profits come, say, for, say, retailers at Christmas. That's when they know they'll make the bulk of their sales. So a lot of profits for broadcasters of football rights will come at the Champions League final, semi-final, quarter-final, that kind of stuff when it comes to the knock. So, do you know what? You can't have that. It's gone. We have to deal with it. It's probably gone. So maybe we do that situation where we expand the Champions League to have more clubs in there. You know, that helps up a lot of clubs because that then there's a lot, maybe per club they receive less money, but there's a lot more money spread about, kind of thing. And then that cascades down the leagues. So you may have, for example, I don't know, you may have say what was it? The top four from last season, Man U, Leicester. Say six. So you have six clubs rather than and Wolves. Let's say the top eight. You have the top eight from each thing in the Champions League, depending. So it's Italy's top eight, Germany's top eight, you know, but they're going to be in the group stages. You know, these are clubs which aren't. I mean, to Leicester, we also had Leicester struggled playing 2 games a week after their championship win. Sheffield United, they're playing twice a week for the first time. I don't think they've ever done that. Wolves, well, yeah, this will be their first time in many years having to play. No, not Wolves. Not Wolves. Sheffield United definitely. Wolves will play now. But I think, and that way you have that. So you have the top 6 clubs, maybe. So obviously, maybe say 8. Yeah, you double it. Do you know what I mean? However you do it. So top 8, top 8, top 8. It isn't fair. Some clubs will lose out. Some clubs will win out. You know, that's just. You know what? Them's the breaks. That's just unfortunate, but that's how we're gonna do it. You know, unfortunately, if you miss the cut, you miss the cut. I think, unfortunately, that means Arsenal would miss the cut.
I was going to say it was quite an arbitrary number that you picked there, but it kind of has like ramifications.
Numbers. I just think you double the amounts, and you have more group stages games. For example, who knows? Maybe we don't do a European Championship next season. You know, we decide. You know what? Unfortunately, just as Wimbledon hasn't happened this year, and just the British Open. Do you know what? We're not going to have a European Championships. It's unfortunate. It's happened. Move on. You know, it can't happen because I think because you've got 2022 coming up next year. Obviously,
the FA won't sanction that, don't you? Because they're holding the semi-final and the final at Wembley, so the FA will not accept that.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, that people are going to lose out. There are going to be losers out of the situation. I think the idea that everyone's going to come out and everyone's going to be happy with it, that just doesn't happen. Yeah. How do I put it? A lot of, say, Northern Italy would have been rebuilt because after the Marshall Plan, post-war rebuilding, they benefit economically quite a lot, much more than the South. The south of Italy tended to provide the labour, so they never got anywhere near the money that the North did. That was exploited by Maradona back in the early 90s. But that aside, there's always going to be winners and losers. Whenever you have a catastrophic event, whether it be a world war or it be a huge illness like a pandemic, we are so interconnected now. We really are. We could have, a second wave of this come September, October.
And they're saying that we could actually have that as well.
So we don't know. So we have no idea what's going on. So the idea that we're going to have another thing, so we might lose 2 seasons as a result of this, which may be extremely unfair. That's just the way things are. Unfortunately, right now, people are losing their lives. People are losing livelihoods. I know there are guys. So someone I know, he used to be a solicitor. He's now owns a martial arts academy. He would make an income from teaching privates, say 5 privates a week. I won't say how much he charges, but that was a fair bit to his bottom line. That's how he was able to pay his bills. Help clothe his children. Feed. Put food on the table. Being affected. All kinds of people being affected. So I think for us to say that football is, that we have to find a fair. There won't be. I think that's the first thing to say. You know what? It won't be fair. It's unfortunate. And unfortunately, I would hate. From my part, would Spurs benefit? Yeah, but I don't really. Obviously, I'm looking from that lens. But if Spurs don't benefit, well, it happens. Shit happens. That's the way it goes. And there's at the end of the day, there will be an expanded European competition to say, I don't know, how many people are going to the UEFA Cup? I don't know, is it 4?
Yeah. Well, I mean qualifying. It is one in the league, one in the cup, one in the so 3 ordinarily.
So there'll be 6. So there'll be 6 teams in there. And ultimately they'll say, well, that's too much football. So you know what? That will actually help pay for it because you've got more revenues, more match day revenues, more sponsorship, more TV money and everything coming through. It may not be the levels per game. Let's say Man City will be used to, obviously. And we're going to lose out. We won't get as much money in the Champions League just because there are more clubs in there. The money has to be split out a lot more evenly. That's just the way it is. At least the money is going to be there, you know? And maybe we have to do it for 2 years. Maybe for 2 years, it will be, it won't be just a one-off. Maybe we have to do it for at least 2-3 years to continue this. And maybe there won't be the international because, and now that does affect, say, people like the FA, obviously, because that's how they make their money, obviously, home and away games. And there are a lot of fans that, was it the Barmy Army, whatever you want to call them, that tend to follow England a lot more.
Or cricket.
Clubs. Just because, their clubs, if you're I don't know, a Bath City or something, chances are you're not going to be in the Premier League, anytime soon, let alone the Champions League. But being an England fan or being a fan of Germany or Holland, you may support Vitesse. So I think there will be, there's going to be casualties. The fact that we're hoping for some perfect utopia, there's a solution where there are no casualties. Again, oh, hello, Lord Lucan. Didn't quite see you there. Speaking of popular, Daniel Levy, thoughts?
Daniel Levy, thoughts? This is the thing right here. I know that's I was actually watching an argument develop in another group. I won't mention the other group because
Well, people argue on the internet.
no, just because I don't want to get people's backs up. But this guy was basically talking about possible transfers coming in. Obviously, transfers are not going to happen right now. That's the last thing anyone's even thinking of. But he's giving these transfer updates, and then this guy jumped down his throat, basically shouting about how Levy is doing this to the club, funneling money out of the club. Even though I think we proved it on the group, didn't we? That no money's being funneled out of the club. No money's going into their pocket, into the Levy's pockets and whatnot, as such, as opposed to shares and whatnot. But that's different. But they're not stealing money from the club. But that was literally his argument, and I think that's the argument of a lot of people. And obviously, when this news of the furloughing has come out, that's what is obviously going to be fuel to the fire to certain people. But I'm kind of mixed on it, really. Do I think we are rich enough to actually look after the middle and the lower staff? I don't see the accounts, but for what I've seen of what has been published, maybe so. But it is a business, and to protect the assets of the business, obviously footballers, they have certain things in their contracts which will obviously say that there isn't, and they cannot provision. They can't have a provision for like the loan of their wages unless it's consented or something along those lines. So the furloughing will always happen to the ones who don't have that kind of lucrative contract.
That happens here. I mean, like, there are people who are like, for example, if you can work from home, you are less economically disadvantaged than, say, someone who has to make a trade because you have to be in someone's home. So they say if you're a blue collar worker, chances are you're going to be more badly affected than if you're a white collar worker. And if the higher you are up the tree, chances are you're going to be less affected than, say, someone who's much lower down the tree. So, for example, I know someone I know, well, kind of know. I know about a couple of people that have had corona, and one person, I think, because he works as a cab driver, just by the very nature that he's out in public, that's how he makes his living. That's how he's been affected by this. That a lot of people are going to be more affected than others. So I think the fact that we're going to have people who are going to be more affected than others, that's just a reality. We have a thing where if something bad happens, guess what? The more wealthy you are, the easier you are able to absorb it. And say someone less wealthy you are. That's just
exactly, yeah. Give it the money, you can isolate yourself easily.
Sport reflects society that we live in. It's just that's just what we have. I think the Levy thing is interesting because it's easy to paint him as the villain. I mean, and I do somehow it's a conflicting one because, for example, yes, he's got a stadium completion bonus. Well, that's your job. Your job is to get the stadium done on time, and I don't think it was. So
Well,
why are you
done
giving
on time? No, it wasn't. No.
a A doing its job,
Mm,
and B, it wasn't done on time. So that's something.
yeah.
But here's the thing: it occurred to me that Daniel Levy's been in his job longer than any other Premier League chairman
Yeah.
that I can think of. I mean, if you think about it, the Arsenal guys, I think that used to be Peter Hillwood. He's obviously he's since died, but
Mm,
I think it's Josh Kroenke, and son of Stan, and you've got
yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
the
Stan
Glazers.
Kroenke's the owner, and Josh Kroenke is the German. Yeah.
You've got the Glazers. You've obviously
Mm,
had, was it Bruce Buck, Peter Kenyon? I don't know if they're still at Chelsea or not.
Bruce, I can't remember.
But I'm saying, just in terms of Premier League chairman, that say when Levy took over, okay,
Mm.
are they the same people? Probably. Apart from maybe one or two, I think there has been quite a few. There's been quite a few changes.
Couple of changes. Yeah, Liverpool have changed a couple of times. Yeah, yeah. So I suppose he has been the longest serving chairman in the Premier League. Yeah.
And so my thought is, if you're going to change him, I wouldn't change him because the last success of the football field, like sat at the ball, sat at the board. Ultimately, I would say, do you know what? You had you have to say three or four main jobs. First of all, was to make us more successful on the pitch. That obviously impacts our off the pitch ability, off the pitch revenue.
Mm.
Secondly, obviously develop assets. Now, for a football club, that that's many things. First of all, it's a stadium, the training ground, which aren't really what you call, well, stadium is a cash generating unit. The training ground can be a cash generating unit if you're able to sell players on, like let's say what Chelsea have.
Mm.
Chelsea massively invested in, say, their youth academy, and many of their youth players won't make it, but then they can use that to fund the club, kind of thing, as an
Mm.
asset. And the other thing, obviously, is merchandise, and and obviously TV money and everything else, and that impacts you. I think personally, I think with Daniel Levy, what more can he do? I think ultimately he's shown that when it comes to on the field decisions, he hasn't often made the right decisions. Sometimes he's made good calls, but
Mm.
ultimately, one of the things I was reading in the Ledley King book, whenever we brought a good player in, a better player had to leave first. You know,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
for example, say with Ledley, say with Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick I think was a much more important player for us than Berbatov was.
Yeah.
We had to sell him in part to fund, not to fund it, but to balance our books, kind of thing.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
obviously he wanted to go. He wanted to. And you look at the career he had. His career was ultimately much more successful than, say, Dimitar Berbatov's,
Well.
Gareth Bale, and
Yeah.
Luka Modric.
Mm.
Ultimately, we end up selling very good players. So Luka Modric left the same season and Moussa Dembele came in.
Mm.
It's often a nice thing. Well, imagine how good those two would have been together, but that never happens because we're
Yeah.
always having to sell one player, a very good player, to bring in potentially good players, and they all take time to develop and grow as you go along. And that's not just us. All clubs have to do that.
Mm.
Juventus do that. Barcelona haven't. Obviously, their best players stayed for many, many years.
They
But
always do. Yeah. No incentive to leave, is there? Because they win everything that they win there. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a
but
different case.
ultimately, it's about keeping your best players. It's ultimately, can you keep your best players within your league? You don't have to sell them to your competitors, and then
Mm.
to attract better players to your club. And Daniel Levy, he's modified it so we don't sell our best players, apart from, say, Carl Walker, our better players. And you think Carl Walker, I wouldn't say one of our better players, to, say, Man City, but
Mm.
we are still saying players abroad. We sell them abroad, but that market's going to struggle up now because
Mm.
apart from, say, the top clubs, let's say your Real Madrid, your Barcelona's, your Juventus, and your Inters, and PSGs and Dortmunds and Bayern Munich,
Mm.
let's say 7 or 8 clubs that can really afford to buy our best players at full whack.
Mm.
So it's a tough balancing act. And I think, and the idea, I think Stan Stipsaffer-Bloor, who I regularly tweet about, he said, look, just because you're a very good businessman doesn't mean you can run a football club.
Yeah.
The two, yes, you have to have the money to show you're very good at business to buy a football club, but it's like this. Would I, if I'm the chairman of an engineering group, okay, would I recruit the CEO from someone from, I don't know, a social media company? No,
Mm.
I'm gonna look for someone that knows how to run a social media company. It shows he's very good at managing within engineering, and vice
Mm.
versa. And there are sometimes left field appointments. I mean, that happened when I was working at HBC. We had one guy that was working in the oil industry. He came to work at the bank, and to be honest, he had not a clue what he was doing.
Mm.
Yeah, there are some guys that can, work from other industries, and if you will have guys.
Oh, looks like we lost you there.
Sorry,
And he's back. There you
you will have
go.
you will have guys.
Technological issues there, my friends.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you got to say a bit of my crotch or my bedspread, but no, but basically yeah. But the thing is Daniel Levy. So Daniel Levy, his I think his background is in land economy, so he knows how to develop physical assets,
Mm.
generate income. So I think personally, not that I would have get rid of Daniel Levy because of, say, a lack of success in the football field. My only is, what more can he do realistically? The only other thing that can be, obviously, there's merchandising and everything else. Well, merchandising is key, and that's a huge driver of any business. But why do Liverpool, even in their fallow years, have such a cult following? Because they were successful for a period, and people buy
Mm.
into that. Why do Chelsea have such huge merchandising revenues now when they don't have anywhere near the success that Liverpool did back in the 80s? Because they were able to have a very successful period, especially between 2004 and
Mm.
2012, 2014, 2015. So, but over that period, they were much more successful in that 11-year period, in that 10-year period.
Mm.
Say, say, say between 2003, 2018, in that 15-year period, they were much more successful than they were in the previous 15 years. I don't think that's. And so therefore, people will buy into that.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's how you increase the revenues. Now, people say, "Oh, that's you get plastic fans." I'm sure you will do, but what we have seen is that people are looking to gravitate to something. They're looking to gravitate to a sense of community. I think, to have a sense of community, going back to what we spoke about earlier. So I think,
That explains all the Nigerian Chelsea fans. Yeah, I'm looking at you lot. What are you all about? Anyway, so carry on.
yeah, your biases aside, but I'm just saying that, there are people that want to buy into something. They want to be part of something. I mean, I bought into Spurs. I mean, I wasn't really into football when I was a kid, and I kind of followed it. I think my first goal I remember was a Norman Whiteside goal against Everton in the FA Cup final. That's the first goal
Oh,
I really remember.
85. Yeah. I was only a baby then, but yeah, I remember that goal.
By the way, for those who say Chris is only a baby, Chris is actually older than I am.
Yeah, yeah. No one would even guess. How the hell would you know Norman Whiteside's goal then? That was 1985.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, blimey. You remember that better than I could. That's good.
Well, 85 was like a very important year for me. So not as in like
That's really important.
I was a little bit older, and it just that the memories of that year stick out much more than, say, 86 or 84.
Mm.
No, 80. Yeah, but as I was going to say, yeah. And then 5 years went on, and I wasn't really into it. And then I think I saw Gary Lineker score a hat trick against Norwich City, and then I became a Spurs fan as a result. I was from
Mm.
the area. I wanted to fit into school. I wanted to have something to root for, and I became a Spurs fan. If someone said to that 18, the kid that joined that secondary school then, "Oh, what football club does Sean support?" They wouldn't have a clue.
Mm.
By the end of that year, everyone knew I was a Spurs fan.
Mm.
Yeah? It just because as kids grow up, they develop different interests, and that's how it works. So
Mm.
I think in terms of what Daniel Levy's got, the challenge he has, I don't think he can do anymore. I think that bonus, he's shown himself he's not very good at in terms of, yes, he may negotiate, but and people say somewhat about one-upsmanship and this, that. Ultimately, we've had targets we haven't got. We've had targets, sometimes that's worked out for us. I mean, I think Harry Redknapp wanted to sign Phil Neville, of all people.
Mm.
But then if that happened, then maybe Sandro wouldn't have developed into the player that he became. If we'd signed, I mean, the fact that we didn't sign a striker in, say, 2014, we didn't sign Danny Welbeck 2014. that allowed Harry Kane to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, but do I think Levy's time at the club is over? No, but I think in terms of as an chairman, but I think he does need to devolve some of his duties. I think he needs to oversee, some things. So let's, for example, apparently like the toilets at the club. Now, if those people who hadn't been to the old White Hart Lane before, oh, Lord Almighty, those were the most mean loos in the bloody world. I can't. Do you know what? I don't even remember them, honestly.
I'm trying to remember them with fondness,
But loos now. I mean, that stadium, the facilities in that stadium are just. It's like chalk and cheese. I mean, it's. But for example, having said that, when I go to Selhurst Park, there's something about those rank loos that I kind of miss about the old White Hart Lane.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Not that I want to go back to those shitty loos or anything like that, but I'm just saying there's something about
shitty loos in cases.
But they were. I'm not joking. Sometimes those loos are covered in shit. I'm like, how on earth remotely possible people would do that?
Yeah.
They were absolutely disgusting. And now, obviously, it's a modern stadium. It's been rebuilt. The facilities are just much better. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Done that, and he was very personally involved in so many of the things at the club. So I'll give him credit for that. But the training centre, obviously, apart from say Ledley King and maybe Stephen Carr, from that period when we were, was it Chigwell? Was it Chigwell or Mill Hill we were at?
Chigwell. Mill Hill was in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably Chigwell. Probably was Chigwell back then.
Yeah.
Chigwell, Spurs Lodge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How many homegrown players were you producing at that time?
Okay, so apart from King and apart from Carr, I know you don't want to mention Sol Campbell. Apart from yeah, who else?
There weren't that many, were there? Maybe Luke Young.
Luke Young. Oh, he was a good left back, wasn't he? Jeez.
Yeah, he was. The thing is, he wanted to play at centre half. We get playing at right back. I'm saying there were players that we were playing.
Yeah, I feel.
Yeah.
Phil Eiffel. Anyway, ignore that.
Right back actually. But
it was, yeah.
He just, and if you read the Ledley King book, by the way, don't. It starts off interesting, and as he gets into the Premiership, it becomes very, 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 very boring. Do you know that? But honestly, it's just like it really is a really boring last half of that book. That was really boring. But there are insights into like why he thinks things to work, why some things did work and some things didn't work. But ultimately, I think we are producing a lot more players, and so you've got, like, for example, I think the new training ground was built in 2013, 2014.
Yeah, around that.
And we have started seeing a lot more players come through. So Tanganga, Skip, Winks, they're from that generation. Even say Ryan Mason, Harry Kane, because I think obviously Harry Kane's been around for a bit longer, but formative years, Ryan Mason definitely came through those last 2-3 years. Nabil Bentaleb,
Tom Carroll,
2012. So we are producing a lot more homegrown players.
Yeah.
So I just think personally, ultimately, I don't think he's, when it comes to say scouting, I think we've lost who's it. And over the years, we've lost, say, some really good coaches. Alex Inglethorpe, he's gone. He went to Liverpool.
Yeah.
We've lost John McDermott. He's been poached by the FA. So that's something you can't help. So I think right now it's up to, and so I think we do need to get someone in and say, look, have a vision for the football club. So look, you're very good at stuff off the pitch. Merchandising, stadium development, running the board, everything else, commercial deals. You do all that. Much like does, you stick with that. But when it comes to like bringing players in, having a vision that isn't just say, Chris and I have spoken about this. I think you can see from say, Paul Mitchell left in 2015.
Still missing him.
And if you look at it, it took him so he was at the club. He joined in 2014. He was there for a year. And that year was probably our most successful transfer window. Virold, Trippier, Dele Alli came in that year as well.
Mm.
Hongmin's son, and we had some disasters. I think not disaster. Clinton NG didn't really perform. I think, and then but the following year, 2016, I think our success rate went down much more. So we had Sissoko, who's the other one? Janssen and
Kudu.
Nkudu. And obviously, when Yama was unfortunate with his knees, we never know how good he could have been, because obviously we can say, look, he was brilliant for that one season, and he was also very good at Southampton. If he could have avoided the injuries, he could have continued to be very, very good. Or maybe, but Sissoko obviously came in, but then if that had happened, then maybe Sissoko wouldn't have come up to be the player he became. Janssen really worked out for him. Nkudu never really worked out. So 2017 came in. Davison Sanchez, one Foyth, and who's the other one? Sergio Aurier. Neither have been really what I call, and maybe I think I was Lucas Moura from that year as well. None of them really hit the ground running, have they? None of them are what you call like first teamers on the pitch. They've been here at least 2-3 years. I think Sergio Aurier, just by default, he's like he's one of the first names, but more by anything else. 2018, famously, we didn't sign anyone. And 2019, I would say Lo Celso being the only real success story. That's 1 in 4. So clearly something off the pitch hasn't been working, because our transfers haven't been coming through as well. Clearly, whether that's been the focus on, say, this new stadium or other things haven't worked out as well. And I think maybe Daniel Levy does need to let loose those reins. I would still say keep Daniel Levy as the chairman. I think you need someone to say, no, this is our budget. This is what you must stick to. But ultimately, you say, look, do you know what? Have someone that knows football development, knows football cycles. I mean, look at, obviously, what's his name? Is it Paul Mitchell? Apart from his incredible range of hair care products, has he's going to do very well at Red Bull Leipzig. And if you look at it, and people say, well, he's got an advantage there, and he does have an inbuilt advantage. You've got players. You can obviously get players into Salzburg. Bring players in there. Have that be your feeder club, or Red Bull New York. Have that be your kind of feeder club for especially for your South American players. And then before you bring them across to Red Bull Leipzig. But they're still based on, like, do you know what? We need to sell players on. We will develop our players and sell them on. Because they know that Bayern Munich will dominate their league. We have, say, obviously, was it Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal to some extent, Man City, obviously. So we don't have that same concentration of power amongst only just in one club. And obviously we're obviously contenders. Obviously we spent, say, 60 million on Ndombele. And here's one thing I wanted to ask you. Is the fact that our host Mourinho broke social distancing rules and somehow managed to get Ndombele, but is that, as bad as it is that he broke the rules, the fact that he's actually working with Ndombele, say, look, do you know what? I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you get better. I'm going to come up. I'm going to break the guidelines to give you the coaching you need, because you need this coaching from me. I'm not going to give it to I don't know what the name of his guy is from Lille. I don't know what the name is, the other guy. You know what I'm talking about? You know the coaching staff he's got?
I say, I don't think it's come yet.
You know what I'm saying? Do you know, like when it was like it was Pochettino, you had Mickey, and you had Tony Jimenez, and who's the other guy?
My memory is correct.
But you remember, but he had the 3 lieutenants.
Yeah, the 3, and Joseph's brought in a couple of his own as well.
Yeah, Jesus Peruz.
Yeah, Jesus.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you look at say, Jose, he hasn't given it to his job to his lieutenants. He is basically one-to-one coaching a player, because normally, like even Harry Redknapp, he picked the team, but a lot of the coaching was done by Kevin Bond. I think Joe Jordan was involved.
No, Harry Redknapp was a manager, wasn't a head coach. That's pretty wise.
He was manager, but he didn't. But he take some of the training, but it was mostly Kevin Bond, Joe Jordan, those kind of guys. He wouldn't be involved in the actual coaching. Whereas Jose Mourinho is actually saying, look, I'm going to coach you one-to-one, I'm going to spend time with that. The equivalent would be like, say, I don't know, would be Arsene Wenger or something. Someone, listen, if whatever you want to say about, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Mourinho as I used to be, but for him to say, do you know what, I'm going to get on the training field and work with you one to one. Why they couldn't have done it in the guy's back garden, I have no idea.
True, that's the thing.
Could you imagine going, like him knocking on the door going, excuse me, Mr. Neighbour, can we have our ball back, please? Could you imagine? Could you
I'm
imagine?
thinking how big the gardens are. I imagine that time it'll take a bit of a kick to get to the neighbour's garden. So,
Maybe they need. Maybe there wasn't. He couldn't get the guys in to build the net. The ball wouldn't work with But do you know what I'm saying? I think the fact that. What do you think? I mean, I'd love to hear your opinion on the fact that even though he called him out publicly, he did. He is actually putting himself. He's actually working with them one to one. What's your thoughts on that?
Good on him, I say. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously because I know that this is going to be this is his first job since leaving Man United in the most ignominious fashion, and a lot of people, including a lot of Spurs fans, are saying that he's obviously not the man he was. So I'm guessing that he knows that his reputation's on the line as well. So I guess showing that side of him, I guess because we never saw that side of him at Chelsea or Manchester United or at Real Madrid, where he's actually doing the coaching himself, as it were. We just automatically assumed he's delegating it. So the fact he wants to see a player get better, that's a good thing. In fact, he wants to make sure that the player is getting better by doing the coaching himself. That's another thing as well. So it just shows that his heart's still in it. It shows that he wants to see Spurs success.
He could have been of his underlings and say, oh, you know what, you broke social distancing. This is what I want you to run him through. I want you in this. All right, but you do it. You put your neck on the line. You be because I'm not saying he wasn't at risk of getting caught, but the fact that he put himself there has actually made me have more respect for Jose Mourinho, even though he broke the rules. Broke the rules in like, you know what? It's kind of like I don't know much about. I mean, I'm reading the Stevie Perryman book. That actually is a lot more interesting than the Ledley King book. That is a lot more interesting. But one of the things,
a more interesting period. You won trophy.
Even though there was a Bill Nick where he would delegate some of the coaching to other people and stuff like that. Obviously he can tell people to do this. Yeah, the fact that he would directly get himself involved with some players. That was something that some players really appreciated. So I think there's an incident. I didn't actually know this, but apparently Spurs beating Leeds at Elland Road helped Arsenal win the double.
Wait, what was that? 71 or something?
71, yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, Leeds finished by a point behind Arsenal that year, and Spurs beating Leeds at Elland Road. So if we'd actually even drawn that game, Arsenal wouldn't have won the title. Can it get more Spursy than that? I'm seriously, come on.
Actually, that explains that. I never actually understood why Arsenal fans could congratulate Spurs fans because of that period. I don't know, but now that makes sense.
But I'm just saying that I think for me, yes, we criticise. I mean, I was like, what the fuck? But then I thought, wait a minute, yes, why on earth did he do that? He broke all the guidelines and everything else. And yes, he may have been wearing a hazmat, like out of like, I don't know, outbreak kind of hazmat suit kind of thing. But ultimately, yes, he'll critique the players, but he's willing to literally knuckle down and work with the players to get them better.
Yeah, exactly. Sign up a good teacher.
And he recognises that, and Ndombele needs that help. He needs someone to tell him, do this, do that. Because Ndombele's gone from, I remember all those years ago, we all said, oh, sign Damiao. And he's gone to have no career at all. He's not really had any career of any kind.
He's done quite well in Brazil, hasn't he? So
done well in Brazil, but he's never really come to Europe, which is where if you do well,
test with it. Yeah, I guess.
But
he's won trophies, so he'll be happy.
But ultimately, they said, look, some of the stuff he needed to learn as, say, a Division 1 player at the age of 18, he never learned. There were things he didn't learn. So the fact that he's spending a lot of time with him to get him better by doing one-to-one coaching, because people forget Mourinho, for all his faults, and he has many, he's saying, look, I'm trying to help the player get better. Calling him out. That's because I'm doing this to help him get better. I'm saying, look, the reason I'm calling out Skip over, say, I'm not calling out Skip because the kid's 18, 19. This is a 20-year-old. And when he came here, he was the most expensive player. And guess what? He's getting paid the wages of a very expensive player. Guess what?
Yep.
You have to learn to deal with. I mean, if you look at Steve Perryman, one of the things was it what I don't know how this translates to our foreign players, but 30 big bollocks kind of thing, yeah. We're all pretty big bollocks. You have to
Grossekopf in Germany.
take criticism and to take on criticism and not let it affect you as a player. Yeah. You know, sometimes, and that will happen. You will get called out unfairly or rightly fairly. I mean, I think there's something about in the Perriman book. He talks about a very talented player, much more talented than he was, but because of his circumstances and like the not bullying, but the the changing room at the time, the dressing room at the time, he wasn't able to handle it. He was a very, very talented player, but mentally he just couldn't handle the demands. You know, it's not as if they say this on the contract, by the way, you are going to have to take shit from older players. You know, you are going to get ribbed. You are going to. This is going to happen to you. Yeah, this is just. Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, football clubs are very much. They're very obviously football now. Obviously they're male and female now, but I'm saying they are very macho, very alpha male places. Yeah. You have to be able to handle certain things being thrown at you. You know. And I think, I mean, as much as it annoys me that he did do that, the fact that he didn't, because he could have easily said to, like, say to one of his lieutenants, you know, you do it, and he's under orders. He's done it before. I remember he told one of his players at Chelsea to wear this weird hat, or to have this weird earpiece in his phone. He was banned from the line, and Mourinho was wearing a hat apparently with an earpiece in or something, you know. So he was communicating to the instructor. He was barred from the bench. He had a touchline ban.
That would make
But
sense.
he was still able to communicate with the touchline, you know. And I think nowadays they still allow people to do that. But back then he was always looking to circumvent the rules, trying to get extra advantage. Because I look at our team and I'm thinking, well, so you're not the ref. It's Championship man. It's Football Manager. Not, by the way, they're not a sponsor of the supplement, but if you'd like to be, it's the man you need to speak to, Chris. But ultimately, you're playing Football Manager, and you have 4 positions you need to strengthen. What 4 would you pick?
Well, in terms of Spurs,
right now, you look at the first team. I look at 4 positions. I'm thinking these are 4 positions I want to.
Left back and right back. We need to strengthen definitely. We need a DM. Oh, most definitely, we need a DM because we've missed a DM. We missed someone to stop. Oh God, we missed someone who's just able to stop those balls getting through to our rather shaky, nervous defence. And we do need a backup striker. We need a backup striker, definitely. We have to.
That's your fault. I will agree that fullback is our weakest link right now. I think that is a very weak link. I also concur defensive midfielder. I would be interested to see if Eric Dyer can come back into form.
Maybe it's centre back, possibly, yeah.
I don't know, because do you know what? I must admit that Norwich game when he headed it and just was spinning around, like, where the hell did that ball go? Kind of had a little bit of confidence. But I do think that you can maybe bring, but I think as a midfielder, he may see himself, you know what? I want to be a centre half. I want to be a centre half. That's where I see my position. I think Jan Vertonghen, whether he'll stay on for an extra year. But for me, I think if you look at Jose, what he was trying to do, he said, you know what? I've got 4 very good attacking players. I've got Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, Omminson, and Harry Kane. And my job is to get the ball as quickly as I can to them and let them do their thing. Because he knew their defence was a real issue. So for me, defence has to be the ultimate priority, which kind of surprises me given the players we've signed, because we signed Bergwijn, who's an attacker, not a defender. We signed Jedson Fernandez, who I don't know why the hell we signed him personally.
So I'm not quite sure what his role is in the midfield.
I really don't know what his role is. The only thing I can think of was at the time they probably thought, well, Sissoko's 30, he's 31. He may come back from his injury, not as fit, or lacking a little bit of pace. So maybe they're looking to future-proof the Sissoko position, you know?
Mm.
He's maybe more technical, maybe not as quick as physical, but he's more technical player.
Mm.
More like a player for 18 months rather than say for now. But for me, I think goalkeeper will be interesting because I like Hugo Lloris. He'll have been at the club for 8 years, like say Jan Vertonghen. But ultimately, I still think he's probably. See, I had an argument with one of my friends about this. Who would you rather have as goalkeeper, Edison or Hugo Lloris?
Well, me personally, I guess in terms of shot stopping, it would be Edison because he can do a lot. He can sweep as well. He comes out and he takes charge of that penalty area, ball over the top. You know he's going to be there. Whereas Lloris, kind of you can either be scared or he'll take the player out. So I'm really confident when the ball's knocked over the top and he's the last one standing.
So it's an interesting one because I think with Lloris, obviously he's gone a little bit older. His reactions are a bit, but he said, "Do you know what? Edison's is a good goalkeeper, but his incredible skill set is that he's so good with his feet.
Yeah.
Seeds. That's the reason why Alisson is in goal for number one over say Edison. Edison's is a decent goalkeeper, but he's a decent goalkeeper. But if he didn't have his footballing abilities and his ball playing abilities, he would be at say Man City. That's the reason he's there. He's basically a decent goalkeeper who's a very good footballer. Yeah. For that position that he needs to be in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
In terms of pure goalkeeping, his argument was Alisson, then De Gea, then Lloris. I'm like, seriously, Lloris? Because he still felt Lloris was still very much at the top of the tree. And if you look at it, who are the other rivals? You've got Kepa. I can't pronounce his last name.
Belaga.
Yeah, you really looking at, didn't you? You've got Dean Henderson, got Rui Patricio, and I asked my mate who's Portuguese. He said, "You know what? He's a decent keeper, but he isn't like someone you think, oh my god, I need to sign him," kind of thing. You know. So really, you've really got Alisson and De Gea who are really at the top of the tree. Maybe Lloris in there and Edison. So, but I do think Lloris, given his age, that's something I want to future with. But for me, I would look at defensive midfielder. But I'd like to see. Do you know what? It'd be interesting to see how. Because obviously we don't even have a pre-season, but who we get into that position? Because do you want a defensive midfielder that can control the midfield, like a Dembele? Or do you want a defensive midfielder that is literally like a brick wall, that was Wanyama?
Yeah.
Very good positioning, is very good at breaking up attacks, and getting that ball forward. Ideally, that's the reason why we were so good. Because the reason we were so good in say 2016, 17 is because Wanyama and Dembele just formed an incredible unit. Because you had one guy that was an absolute brick wall, very good at breaking attacks, and you had another just so good at controlling midfield. And the two of them were just absolute units. You wouldn't get the ball off them.
Yeah, well, I'll say that we need the brick wall because we already have the Dembele type in the form of either Ndombele when it gets a little bit better or Sissoko. So we need someone who's just like literally just going to stand there and say "Thou shalt not pass."
Yeah, so I think, and you got Lo Celso, who's actually underrated. He's a very good ball carrier. I mean, that game against Southampton, I think you were there for that.
He put a lot of tackles. I was actually quite impressed. I do kind of forget about him sometimes.
Yeah, he's weird because I don't know. I'm just thinking, I don't know his best position. Is he best playing in the Eriksen role as a number 10?
Yeah, further forward, I'd say.
Being in midfield, like in that Luka Modric kind of dictating the game from midfield kind of thing.
Both.
He can do both.
He's very good at to play up front as well at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. I think that'll be interesting because I personally feel that we've got some really good options there. I think you've got, say, if you look at our squad, if it's fully fit, the problem we've had with our squad is a real lack of fitness. Serko's been injured, Harry Kane's obviously been injured, Son's been injured, so those three were very key to our success the previous year, kind of thing. Obviously, Kane was injured for quite a lot of last season, but Son and Sissoko were real driving forces in that midfield, in that Spurs team that had a lot of success. And obviously, once they went, we haven't been as successful just because we've missed them considerably. And obviously, Eriksen was nowhere near as good as he was the previous season. And obviously we lost Dembele, and I think that's been that transition period has been very difficult. I honestly do think that I don't know, like, I wouldn't actually go out and buy. I actually would look at, say, left back, right back, and say, look, just buy the best you can, you know, whether it be Meunier. That would be interesting because I think they sold Aurier to get in Meunier. I think Meunier was I don't know, but I think Meunier being at the club is what helped force out Aurier, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Meunier and Aurier, you'll be interested to see how that works out. And but I think Meunier would be available on a free transfer.
Okay.
And so that gives you a lot more money for, say, left back. I don't think Ryan Sessegnon is going to be a left back. I don't see him Ashley Coling just yet.
No, he'll be further forward, wouldn't he? Be
So
more of a
I
winger.
think we can play what we have got. I think Pochettino wanted to play like a very team with a lot of disciplinary. So you could not multidisciplinary, that they could actually have. You could play like, say, Sessegnon off the right flank, as you would not play like a Gareth Bale, but having him on one side crossing in from deep, kind of thing, And then you'd have, say, Sonny and, say, who else? But I do think there are good bones of the squad. I think Sessegnon could be a good player if you say, look, stay up front, be an attacker that can put a shift defensively. You're not Ashley Cole. You're not. Can be a player that can get some width, get wide, and so really work on your crossing. Really work on that. If I was Ashley Cole, if I was Ryan Sessegnon, I'd be going to my next door neighbour and say, "Excuse me, hi, this is Ryan from next door. Can I have my ball back, please?" You know what I mean? But I would have him say, "Do you know what? Just literally have him work on the crossing specialist, and literally have all the cameras on him as much as you can. Literally build it in his house. Build like a fucking studio in the house, Jam, if you need to. Build studios so you can actually watch him taking loads of. You can do that. Like all that stuff where they look at the players and the angulation of the players, and how they hit the ball spins and all that kind of shit. Have him do that. Have him work that in isolation. You don't need a person. You just need to give him a whole bunch of balls. And you know what, Ryan, you get all the balls over there. Please, sir. No, Ryan, go put your balls yourself. And have him do that. And work on that. Same with, say, Bergwijn. Obviously, I think he was injured I think he's been missed for the rest of the season. Have him work on his crossing. Do you know what? I think the thing about Stephen Bergwijn was that he's very good. He's a very good player. He cannot see the picture. Yeah. So work on that. Work on his ability to see the pass. He's very much a runner. And the amount I was watching him, even long before he joined Spurs, I was watching him as in the previous. Do you know what? He can't see a pass. There are so many passing opportunities, he just can't see them. So work on that. And I do think we've got some good players. I don't know what. So that's I think they've recognised that if you have someone like Sonny, you burn him out. So Bergwijn, you can play him and you can play that Liverpool style front three. I think they had that in mind. I think you say someone like, if you think about it, you've got Sonny, you've got Bergwijn, and you've got, say, Sessegnon. That is a very fast front three. Is it as fast as, say, Liverpool's front three? Comparable.
Yeah, that's so.
I think the reason I think Liverpool's front three works so well is the fact that you've got great fullbacks in Trent and, say, Robertson that can stretch, and that gives you that. And that's why it makes them so hard to mark. Because the minute the whole trick of, you know what, if I'm looking at his number on his back, guess what? He's
really fast.
I've got to make him play back to goal. Make him play goal, or I've either got to see he's got his back in front of me, or I can see the crest on his shirt. The shirt. That's the way I knew to him. But if the pitch is very, very narrow or very congested, they haven't got that space. If the pitch is very open, then obviously the minute they get behind, they get the turn on you. That's it. You're playing a foot race, and you're not going to beat them, kind of thing, unless you can foul them or them really well, kind of thing.
And Liverpool kind of not nixed that idea off us, didn't they? When we had Walker and Rose. I don't think we're ever going to see like a full back set like that again, are we? Not for a while, I suppose.
That's Trent and Robertson.
At Spurs, I said, unless Liverpool come to play Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But I'm talking about Spurs. We want to see that again
Well,
at
I do,
that
but
team.
I don't. His thing though, I just think you have two choices. You can either say, do you know what, we're going to look to get flying fullbacks to stretch the pitch, because I think like so how many so in terms of, let's say, fullbacks, okay, they can do that. They can just do are so good going forward, up and down the pitch. You've got Cafu, Dani Alves, Trent, well, Kyle Walker to an extent, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Lizarazu as well for a period back in those days.
Yeah, Vicente Lizarazu. Yeah.
But I'm saying, but how many have there been? They've been five right backs that can really do that?
Ashley Cole.
Yes. No, as in right backs.
Oh,
Right
right
back.
back. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Five.
How about that? Yeah, pretty much. Haven't been that many.
Yeah, and then say on the other end, on the other side, on the left hand side, obviously Gareth Bale. Obviously he became a full or winger. Ashley Cole, Marcelo, Real Madrid player.
Real Madrid player. Yeah, Marcelo. Yeah.
There haven't been that many, have there?
Well, those are old enough to remember Norbert Eder of Germany. Yeah, marauding right back.
So rather than looking to get a unicorn in, say, look, do you know what? We can't play that game. What we can do is develop you can do two things. We can either use what we have and innovate, be tactically innovative. Do you know what? We can't play that. We can't ask our fullbacks to go really wide and get loads of crosses up in the pitch. We can't do that. What we can do is maybe say, you know what? I'm not a tactician, but so look, have a very solid back four kind of thing, and play very much as, say, we did with say Lennon and Bale. So look, because if you look at so May Walker was advantageous at that time to say Lennon getting forward, but if you look at when Bale and Lennon were really storming up the pitch, kind of thing, it was in the era of, say, when we had Vedran Charluka and say Benito Cotto, who were good at getting forward, but they weren't brilliant at it. And Benny could get forward, but he wasn't, the best crosser of the ball. What he could do, he was very good at supporting that wide player. And so saying, look, we can't ask these players to keep going up and down because they haven't got the engines to do that. And they haven't got the ability to cross the ball. But what we can do, configure our system to say, look, how can we support our fullbacks, support those wide players? So that could be, do you know what? We play Harry in the middle, and we have, say, Bergwijn and Sessegnon feeding him crosses, kind of thing. Or we have kind of like a front four of those players, and we control the midfield so we can get it quickly and early to those kind of. So they're really advanced wingers almost. So they literally are. So essentially, it's like a hard-working 4-4-2 almost, or a 4-4-1-1, with, say, Dele Alli in the Rafa van der Vaart position, and, say, almost Sessegnon. They're not wingers, but they're faux wingers, wingless wonders, one of the better words, kind of thing. They will play wide, but they play wide and they can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, sounds a plan. Especially with the players that we have now, I guess that's where we have to go forward, isn't it?
Look, how can we help these guys to get them forward? But also, we also need these guys to also put pressure on their left backs, to put pressure on their full backs, to break up the play, to that kind of stuff. That's where the tactics come involved. So I can actually see some method to what he's doing. And I think there are opportunities, but I'm not a football tactician, but I would look at it and say, look, you can't play. Harry Kane cannot play 50-game season. He's not Steve Perriman. He's not Michael Dawson. He hasn't got that ability to do that. So therefore, we need to work out a method of winning games without Harry Kane. So that could be, for example, the way that Spain did it. I mean, you had Fabregas as a false nine. Well, I'd rather have Dele Alli as a false nine, and say, look, Dele, can you play this way? We'll play you a bit more advanced up the pitch, kind of thing. Still play the way you'd normally play. We'll have Sonny do that. We'll have the two of them do that, as a hard-working 4-4-2, kind of like a little, well, not little and large, but the way that they do it for. You look at, say, for example, people say 4-4-2 is dead. Well, look at Atletico Madrid. He makes it work.
Mm.
And that's because they all know their roles. I
Yeah.
mean, Trippier doesn't, to face it, Trippier's doing really well. He's not going to be going up and down the pitch like consistent, is he?
Mm.
He gets wide, he gets him across the ball. He hasn't got the engine to cover back. But they've worked out, well, do you know what? He's got the quality on the ball. We can work out. They've got very hard working midfielders. They've all bought into this. So realistically, what we need to do is we need to basically get in El Loco to be our new coach.
Oh, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
But if you think about it, back in those days, even against El Loco, obviously he wasn't. Obviously, he didn't. Griezmann wasn't the player he became, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think had left. I think by the time Griezmann became the player, he became for Atletico, for like Niguez and all those other players. But the method that I think maybe we'll see a 4-4-2 again. And actually having that, because that way, you can actually, or a 3-5-2, or whatever you want to call it. I do think it's workable. But I think Mourinho, I don't know. I mean, tactically, I think we have options. I think, but I do think we need to have good fullbacks, because Aurier is there by default. I think he's a good fullback. I don't think he's a brilliant fullback, and he needs competition. I think Meunier on a free, if it's possible, bring him in, and then, do you know what? I would throw a shitload of money at Leicester for Chilwell. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it had to be a whole lot of money, because he hasn't really got the incentive to leave right now. I mean, Leicester are doing a lot better than we are.
Unless it's like a Cantor situation where he says, you know what, come to us, we'll we'll pay you a shitload more money.
Exactly.
And you'll be playing with Harry Kane and Dele Alli. And guess what? Those two, well, maybe not Dele Alli, but definitely Harry Kane, is a part of the team. And utilise that. Chilwell will be the person I would literally. I mean, yes, you've got. Yes, you can pay money on, say, someone else. But I think for me personally, if you can get Mooney on a free, I would put a shitload of money on Chilwell. And so, because you only need, say, one or two players, and rather than paying like buying the Beatles again, you just need maybe one or two. If you look at, say, Alderweireld, he was that one player that made all the difference. Well, no, technically he was figuring out how to best use the best of Dembele. But ability was that suddenly you see that, because right now our problem isn't scoring goals. We can score goals, we're just conceding them, which means soft middle and we have poor defence. If we can figure out our defence, I think we're halfway there. But anyway, I've rambled on for way too long.
It's all good. It's all very informative, and that's the important thing.
Well, but, a shitload of it from Roy Smith about but there is content, and I don't think we'll have any more, because I must admit, if you're not, honestly, Rory Smith's probably, him and Stafford Bloor are probably my two favourite writers. Plus, I'm too cheap to pay for the Athletic. I'm not being bad, but you know what? There are some really good articles. I would love to be subscribed to the Athletic, that, but I'm not going to pay for it. I'm sorry. I already pay for the New York Times, and much as I like football, do you know what I mean? Stafford Bloor and Rory Smith, they kind of fill my good football reading kind of thing. And Jonathan Liu, he's still writing on football, or is he writing on cricket now? I can't remember.
No, not too sure. But some good writers out there, and there's a lot. I mean, at least we try and bring the information concentrate into one, so that is relative to Spurs. So that's what we try to do. So it's all good. But
wide ranging topic on football, on society and Corona. We want to hear your thoughts though, and we want to. And do you know what? I don't want to be doing these much longer. I'd rather have Chris doing these with someone else. So I'm going to go back on my self-imposed social media blackout kind of thing. So enjoy this for the moment. I don't see myself doing this for a while, not a long while.
Anyway, but the main thing is that I hope everyone's adhering to the lockdown and doing their best, maintaining the keeping the distance when you're out in front of everyone and stuff like that, and staying in. That's the important thing. As long as you stay in, then
actually, look at the A-Road where I live, and normally on a Sunday bank holiday, there's so much traffic. I've seen, maybe you'll see a couple of cars, but the traffic is just non-existent.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's all pretty quiet. I mean, no one's breaking into any cars right here, which is kind of weird. I mean, you normally hear a lot of car alarms going off, but at the moment it's very quiet. So at least the carjackers are adhering to the rules. So that's good. All very
Although,
good.
can I say something though? I was actually so I don't know if you know this, but there's a bit. So do you know as you're going up towards, say, from Tottenham to Edmonton, right? Okay,
Mm, yeah,
and there's that bit which kind of veers towards the railway bridge.
yep. That's
I don't know what. It's right near the Coach and Horses. It's right near the estate, I think.
mm.
Well, I didn't know this, but apparently that is a place for certain workers.
There's no proof. I might visit it occasionally in my time, but there's no real proof that that's even real.
But it was really
Eh,
strange though, because I remember like, 'cause I just went down. I just went down to so I just went down that way just to get some Chinese food,
of course.
and then
Also,
I honestly, I think the funny thing is though, I had this lass chasing me, all right, and then I was like, then I was like, what? The people gave me thumbs up. I was like, yeah, thumbs up, and I kept just headphones on. That was it, you know. Then like, this lady chased me and he said to me, "Do you want to do any business?" And now, if someone's chasing me, I'm going to be running off. Not because I want to be, not because I don't want to get David pleated, but because depleted even. And,
just tell them that she was
I,
you're asking
I'm
for
going to watch the phone because I have no idea where this lass has been. Social distancing.
directions.
So yeah,
I
that was interesting. Anyway,
love
so that
Tottenham.
my unfortunate escapes aside, my fortunate, very fortunate escapes aside. Please stay safe. Please. I mean, I saw this the other day. I was driving to pick up some food for my mum, and I think I saw like a hen party or something. I saw like 4 or 5 people in a car, and there was
Mm,
a big group of lasses. Either could be a hen party or a birthday. And I'm
mm,
thinking, I'm not gonna shame. I'm not gonna judge anyone. Do you know what I mean? It's just for me. I'm more angry at the government for its collective failure
mm,
than any people observing collective distances. But it's easier to round on an individual
mm.
than say on say the government. Do you know what I mean? You know. But if you can stay safe, look, I go running. I go running past the stadium once, twice a week. And do you
Mm.
know what? As Chris may know, I have a bit of a gym addiction. I never thought I'd get sick of. I'd never thought I'd get sick of running past stadium. I was going to run 3 times a week. I can barely run past it once a week now. Twice a week is very much because I don't want to see it. In a place I can't go to.
Well, at least you have the whole place to yourself.
No, do you know what the funny thing is that I can't actually run more than the route I'm running because literally the only crowded bit is say Tottenham High Road.
Mm,
And luckily for me, the Lidl, the Audi, or the Audi anyways on the other side.
mm,
There's like a mini Sainsbury's kind of thing.
mm,
Uh, there aren't that many like crowded places, so I've had to run on the road. So, but luckily where I'm running is it's the industrial side. It's the
mm,
industrial park, so it's very very quiet anyway. So
mm.
I don't run into a lot of people anyway. So thankfully, I can't run any further than that. The only place is plus it's near North Middlesex. I'm kind of giving away where I live, but it's that. But I'm just saying that it's kind of quiet that way. So I'm pretty lucky, but I can't run any further than that because there are chances I will run into people. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
and
There's,
and, the,
that's,
and that bit of the road, I can't. It's actually quite narrow. The pavement's actually quite narrow,
mm.
so I can't actually run onto the road to avoid people. So I have to stick to my route. So I'm running a couple times a week, and that's it. And I go shopping once a week
Mm.
just to get supplies, and that's it.
No, as
But
long as you're
please,
staying safe, that's the main thing.
anyway, as always, come on, you Spurs, and
Spurs, man.
season is over. You can always, I think Chris is going to be doing a few more of these with other people, not with me, thankfully. Please, not with me.
We shall see. But everyone,
Like,
take care, and also happy Easter to everyone. I hope you all enjoying
Easter,
your
have a late
massive eggs.
Passover. Ramadan Mubarak for those observing it in about 2 or 3 weeks.
There you go. You all take care now.
Boys.